meetings means no family unity. No family meetings means no order, no structure. It used to be around the dinner table back in the olden days when everybody had dinner at the same time. I don't know whether that's possible in a contemporary society to get everybody to the table at the same time. It's hard enough to get them all to eat the same thing. But if you can't do it around the table, do it around the garage, do it in the car, do it somewhere, call a meeting. There has to be some huddling. If there's not a father there to huddle, there has to be a mama there to huddle. Whoever's in charge needs to call some plays and call the team together and give everybody assignment, because huddling is critical to the success of a family, particularly when you go through a crisis, you go through an affliction, you go through a death, so-and-so went to jail, so-and-so's in trouble. Somebody's got to give some marching orders and say, this is how we are going to handle this situation. We will not come unglued. We will not fall apart. We will not faint. This is what we're going to say. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to handle it. And this is how we're going to survive. You must have a huddle, and it's got to be in your house. Huddling is critical. If it's a marriage, there has to be a huddle. If it's a mama and a daughter, there has to be a huddle. If it's two sisters and a grandbaby living in a house, it still has to be a huddle. You don't have to wait till you get married to get somebody to huddle you together. Whatever's in that house has got to huddle so that you have a point of unity. And I strongly encourage you, because myself, my family, we have often survived the tempter's snare and the attacks of life just because we called a huddle, we call some plays, everybody put their heads together. It teaches your children we are family, respect for the family, we live together, we die together, we fight together, we faint together, we will stay together, and long after you're dead and gone, that philosophy will infiltrate your kids, and they'll survive the vicissitudes of life because you taught them the value of a good huddle. You can't run a company without a meeting. You can't run a house without a meeting. You need a huddle in your house. You show me a house that doesn't huddle, and I'll show you a house that's not building. You show me a family that doesn't huddle, and I'll show you a family that's wasting their energy fighting against one another, and there cannot be any unity. There will only be division, which simply means there are multiple visions in the house. The kid wants to do one thing, the mother wants to do something else, the father's going about his business, and nobody even knows where the daughter is. Division comes from the lack of one vision, and you can't get one vision until you have a huddle. If you have a huddle, you call some plays. We may not all do the same thing. We may not all have the same giftings, but you teach people with diverse giftings to have unity with one purpose, vision, and goal. When I teach on the family, I believe you should have a mission statement for your family. What is the vision of this family? What is the purpose? And what are the goals of this family? Nobody can be loyal to something they haven't been exposed to. To come in and tell a child you're messing up, what do you mean messing up? Messing up what? You haven't told me what we're doing. You haven't told me where we're going. I'm just doing my own thing. You're not calling any place. Everybody in the house is doing their own thing. The Bible says, the last verse in the book of Judges, there was no king in Israel, and every man did what was right in his own eyes. When there's no leadership, everybody does their own thing. And you cannot have the cohesive, strong, resilient family that you need because you don't huddle. Being a cohesive, strong, resilient family doesn't mean that you don't have problems, that you don't have areas of dysfunction. The reality, everybody has problems, everybody has issues, but calling those groups of people together and saying this is how we're going to deal with it, and calling some plays, I want to challenge you to go home, call a huddle, call some plays, and say, you know, you're good at that. I need you to do this right here. You're the one that's always good at that. You make the appointment. I need you to help me with this over there. This gives children self-esteem. It gives them responsibility. It lets them know that you're a unit. A lot of times we have a philosophical idea about the family, but it is so abstract that we have not given any real rules of delineation of assignment to anybody, and then we complain because they're not loyal, but they don't know what they're loyal to. Particularly, and I believe particularly in families of color, it is very, very important, whose ancestry is similar to mine, that you begin to huddle, because our ancestry lends itself to the deterioration of family. The fact that we were encouraged to birth children and not parent the children we birthed. The fact that we were applauded for making babies and not taking care of babies. Emancipation Proclamation didn't fix all of that. So the whole idea of what is a father is something that we have to struggle to define. And we have to work twice as hard to cover up for years and years of destruction that was once acceptable and permissible. Consequently, we've got a lot of work to do. Tell somebody, tell them we've got a lot of work to do. We got to work twice as hard and run twice as fast because our grandfathers are missing and our great-grandfathers are missing and our great-great-grandfathers are missing. And we've got to build back that huddling influence of unity that's critical to building back the home. Are you feeling me? We'll give you the fourth block.